In this video, we will begin Unit 2. Our first topic is Chapter 3, Section 1, Statements, Negation, and Quantified Statements. Okay? So a statement is a statement that is either true or false, but it's not both. So, examples, London is the capital of England. This is a true statement. William Shakespeare wrote the TV series Modern Family. This is a false statement. Okay? So we're going to determine if these sentences are commands, questions, or opinions. Think before you speak. That's a command. It's telling you something to do. Is your room clean? That is a question, ends with a question mark. Dogs are the best pet anyone can have. That is an opinion. It could be true for some people, but it could also be false for others. So that's your opinion. Okay? In logic, we use lowercase letters to represent statements. This is our lowercase p. The statement says, London is the capital of England. Q is William Shakespeare wrote the TV series Modern Family. Okay? Negation statements will be notated with this little squiggly line in front of that letter. So once you have the squiggly line, it means not. So all you're doing is putting not somewhere in that statement where it makes sense. So not P means London is not the capital of England. This is still a true or false statement. Okay? So the negation of a true statement means that it's false. So if this is true, then this means it's false. The negation of a false statement means it's true. So if this is false, the negation would have to be true. Let's look at the second page. We're going to do the negation of each statement. So here is our statement P, which is Paris is the capital of Spain. Not P means that Paris is not the capital of Spain. Q, July is not a month. Not Q, July is a month. Notice here I removed the not sign. It's the opposite of what it says in Q. Okay. R, today is Monday. Not R, today is not Monday. So basically you're removing the not if you have it in the original statement, or you're adding it if you do not have it in the original statement. S, Chicago O'Hare is the world's busiest airport. Not S, Chicago O'Hare is not the world's busiest airport. Okay. This section is probably the most difficult. You will not have this list. You need to know it when you're taking your test. Quantified statements means that you include the words like all, some, no, or none. These are quantifying statements. Okay, so you're actually putting a quantity. So if our statement says all A are B, for example, all poets are writers, this is a quantifying statement, then when we write an equivalent way to express it, in other words, these two statements mean the same thing, we can say there are no A that are not B. These two mean the exact same thing. In other words, there are no poets that are not writers. Okay? So these two statements mean the same. Okay? We could also say some A are B. There exists at least one A that is B. Equivalent statements. Some people are bigots. At least one person is a bigot. Okay? So if you say some people, that implies that at least one person is. Okay? We could also use the word no A are B, which means all A are not B. These mean the same thing. Let's look at this. No common colds are fatal. All common colds are not fatal. They mean the same thing. The last example, some A are not B. means that not all A are B. These mean the same thing. Some students do not work hard is the same thing as saying not all students work hard. They mean the same thing. This is going to become important when we're doing the next part. So let's look at this next part. It says, in general, the negation of all A are B is some A are not B. Likewise, some A are not B is all A are B. So these are not equivalent statements. These are opposites. Here's our statement, here's the negation. It's similar to saying the word not. Okay? So if our statement is all A are B, the opposite of that is going to be some A are not B. Okay? We're going to replace that word all with some, and we're going to add that not to it. If we're doing it the other way and we're given some A are B, the negation or the opposite of that would be no A are B. Okay? These are two different statements, but it's very similar to saying this is the opposite of this is the opposite of this. Let's look at an example. So the Board of Supervisors told us, there's that word all, which means it's a quantifying statement, all new tax dollars will be used to improve education. I later learned that the Board of Supervisors never tells the truth. So what they're saying is going to be actually the opposite of that. What can I conclude? Okay, well, I'm going to look at the statement. It says all new tax dollars will be used to improve education. So I'm going to determine which one it's similar to. So I have the word all. Here's the word all here. New tax dollars will be used to improve education. So all tax dollars are improving education. So basically I have a statement similar to this. Since they never tell the truth, that means we're going to say what's the opposite of that. So I'm going to use this statement. I'm going to say some, there's my sum here, some, and what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about new tax dollars. So here I have new tax dollars, will, here's my will, and then remember we're adding that word not. So we need to add not. Will not what? Be used to improve education. Be used to improve education. I have the same wording here. Now it says express the conclusion in two equivalent ways. Well, this is our first way, which is the one we used up here. Now we're going to use this statement and write another way. That's when we use the stuff on here. So here it says some new tax dollars will not be used to improve education. You actually have two choices here. You can use the second one, which are some A are B, but remember the B part is not, or you can use this section here. I use this one here where it says some A are B. So here I have some new tax dollars. The part B is will not be used to improve education. So some A, some new tax dollars are not to be used in improving education. That part entirely is B. So here I said there exists at least one. So at least one. Part A, which is new tax dollars are, and I use the word will here, and then B states exactly the same thing, not be used to improve education. This is the one that I use on this sheet. You can also use this one. Since some A are not B, you can say not all new tax dollars will be used to improve education. That's another example of using an equivalent statement. So you can use either one. The one that I have here, I use on this one. Okay, that concludes this lecture on 3.1. Try the practice problems. I know this can be a little bit complicated, and let me know if you have any questions.